Namo Namo everyone. So now today we'll be continuing further with the lesson Gulliver's Travels. So now let's see what happened next. They all sat on the ground to take a good look at me. I walked slowly backward and forward, pulled off my hat and made a low bow towards the farmers. I tried to speak to them loudly in several languages. So all of these farmers set him on the ground and they were taking a good look at him. So Gulliver also walked slowly backward and forward. He pulled off his hat and he bowed towards the farmers. Now Gulliver also tries to speak to them in different languages, but is unable to do so. Each time I did so, the farmer who picked me up held his ear very close to me, but in vain. The farmer took me to his house and placed me at some distance on the dining table, which was 30 feet high from the floor. So each time he was trying to speak, the farmer who picked him up by his ear came very close to him so that he could hear, but all of his efforts were in vain. Then finally the farmer took him to his house and placed him on the dining table. Now this dining table was 30 feet high from the floor. Dinner was brought for the farmer in a dish which was 10 feet in diameter. The farmer's wife crumbled some bread and placed it before me. In the middle of the dinner I heard a noise behind me. It was the purring of a cat that was 10 times larger than an ox. So dinner was brought for the farmer by his wife, which was 10 feet in diameter. Now the farmer's wife also crumbled some bread and placed it before him. So she tears the bread in tiny pieces and keeps it in front of him. So Gulliver was so little to them that the farmer misidentifies him as an animal. Now in the middle of the dinner, Gulliver hears a noise which was coming from behind. Now it was the cat. The cat was purring. Now that cat was 10 times larger than an ox. The farmer's wife was stroking him. Then entered the farmer's 1-year-old son in the arms of a lady. On seeing me, the child grabbed me from the table and put my head into his mouth. I shouted so loudly that the baby dropped me. So when the cat entered, the farmer's wife was stroking him. Then after some time, farmer's 1-year-old son entered in the arms of a lady. Right now this lady can be a nanny, right? So when the child entered and he saw Gulliver on the table, he grabbed him, right? He suddenly picked him up and attempts to devour him, right? He was putting his head into his mouth, but the infant drops Gulliver when he yells very loudly. I would have broken my neck if the mother had not held her apron under me. Later she put me on her own bed and covered me with a clean white handkerchief. I slept dreaming of my home, my wife and my children. So when the infant drops Gulliver, the farmer's wife notices it and catches him in her apron. If she would have not done that, Gulliver might have broken his neck. Later on, the farmer's wife tucks Gulliver in and covers him with a napkin in her own bed. So that night, Gulliver slept dreaming of his home, his wife and his children. So surprisingly enough, these giant creatures were very kind to Gulliver, right? So this was all about the story Gulliver's Travels. Now in the next video, we will be summarizing this story. So stay tuned. Thank you so much.